Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our winter storm is now underway. If you have not looked outside, our winter storm is now underway here in Kentucky. We have a lot of new things to talk about here with you. I'm going to go through some of the newest in the model data with you, show you the live radar, kind of show you how things are evolving here. I'm still surprised it's still snowing into Tennessee, deep into Tennessee. So we have some things that are changing. We have some things that are changing here. For some of you, you will like it. For some of you, you will not like it. As simple as that. As simple as that. Let's give it a minute or so. Let everyone get in here, get settled in. You guys know how it goes. I like to give it a minute or two. Let folks get the notification, get in here, get settled in, let them know what to expect. As you're coming in here, if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen, especially if you're on Facebook. You hit that little arrow, share it on your news feeds, that way your friends and family can view it, and it helps us get more people informed and up to date on what to expect. So again, we're going to give it about a minute or two, so you got plenty of time to get that done. Say hello as you're coming in. Let me know where you're watching from. Yes, we are live on both YouTube and Facebook currently. Tiffany, good evening or afternoon to you. Tracy, hello out of Muhlenberg. Selena, hello out of Muhlenberg. Jordan, I've been seeing that, my friend. Good afternoon to you. The name is always a little bit too aggressive in these situations. I personally think the HRRR model has a good handle on this. I see a lot of folks commenting on YouTube. So the people that are saying on Facebook that the YouTube thing's not up yet, it's probably just an internet connection thing on your end. It'll be up on you for, whenever it comes up. But I do see a lot of people commenting from YouTube. So I do know the YouTube is working. Allison, thank you for your 100 stars. I appreciate you. And for another 50 stars, thank you so much. Thank you, Korea and Sean. I appreciate that. Just kind of going through some of the comments right now. Guys, if you could find the YouTube stream on your phone but not on your TV, that's on YouTube side, not on our side. Unfortunately, I don't know nothing to fix that there. I'm sure it'll pop up eventually. Okay, I'm going to give it about 30 to 45 more seconds. Again, if you are just now hopping in here, you have not missed a thing, welcome in. Hopefully you're staying warm out there. It is cold. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we're going to see a lot of sleet or freezing rain out of a situation where it's like 15 to 10 degrees outside. And it's it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But I'm giving everyone about 30 more seconds to hop in here, get settled in, because I don't want to have to repeat ourselves too many times here. Deidre, thank you for your 100 stars. I appreciate you. Sandra, thank you for your 99. Brittany, thank you for your 200 stars. Amber, thank you for your 50. Deidre with another 100. Emily, thank you for your 20 stars. Brittany, thank you for your 20 stars. Taylor, thank you for your 20 stars. A lot of stars coming through here. Thank you guys very much for your kindness. I appreciate that a ton. All right, let's go ahead and start heading on over here. Again, if you haven't already, please share the broadcast. Tap that arrow at the bottom portion of your screen if you're over there on Facebook. Share this on your newsfeed so that way your friends and family can view it as well, and it helps us to grow. So thank you very much. Okay, here we are at the one. Oh, Andrea, thank you for your 1,000 stars. I appreciate that. Goodness gracious. Christy, thank you for your 20. Okay, let's go ahead and get focused up here. Here we are at the 1:30 p.m. Eastern time hour here. And we have snow still ongoing all the way down into Tennessee. So we still have quite a bit of a ways to go before we hit that freezing rain and sleet. I will say, I don't know how this is going to change things, okay? So, kind of bear with me here. But I will say, it is lasting longer down here in Tennessee than what the model data tried to indicate, okay? And what I mean by that is, if we come over here to the NAM 3K model, which is supposed to be one of the better models at handling warm noses, right? Just want to kind of show you here. Go ahead and come on. Pivotal weather's been going so slow today. Okay, so here it is, valid for about right now. And it has sleet in Columbia, Tennessee, sleet in Jackson, sleet all the way up almost to the western Kentucky, Tennessee border right there. Freezing rain and regular rain over here in East Tennessee. Why are we looking at Tennessee? Because this is what's coming up here. So we have to watch this very carefully. If you'll notice, it's not even close to Nashville yet. It's not even close to the western Kentucky border yet. It's still snowing in the eastern Kentucky or Tennessee border. What this changes, I don't know. But right now, the freezing line is still well south of where the model's indicated. How does that affect wave 2? Because remember, we're going to have this little wave here that's in Kentucky now, right? Then we have a little bit of a break, maybe some light kind of snow, sleet showers. This will continue to fill in, by the way. I know a lot of people are looking at radar like, where's all the damn snow? The actual low pressure and everything kind of responsible for that second wave is still kind of just now getting going. So this is right now is kind of going as forecasted. The only difference is it's still snowing pretty well down into Tennessee. How that affects wave 2, it's kind of obviously yet to be seen. But if this trend is to continue, then obviously we would end up with more snowfall in Kentucky. But I don't want you guys to run with that and say, "Oh, we're back. We're back to the bigger snows." It's really hard to guys when you're dealing with warm noses. It is, dude. I'm gonna be real with y'all for a second. When you're dealing with a situation like this where it's 10 degrees at the ground, right, and the area that you're watching is a mile up into the atmosphere, and it might be 32 to 33 to 34 degrees. That 1 degree makes a crazy difference. And so when you have a situation like this where you look outside and it's supposed to be snowing because it's 10 degrees, but you're like, it's freaking freezing rain. Well, because it's 30-something degrees a mile up above our heads. And it makes situations like this incredibly, incredibly difficult to forecast. This is why there's so many people that are being mad in the comment section, not just with us, but with every forecaster and even the NWS, right? Because warm noses are incredibly difficult to forecast. No model can really handle them very well. The NAM model tries, but you can see it's already off right now as well. So again, this is the type of event that gives us our bigger snows in Kentucky, but it's also the type of event that is quite literally one of the hardest things to forecast out of all weather. So this is why you often see forecasts get wrong in situations like this. Just want to kind of put that out there for those of you that may be frustrated. I'm frustrated too. Guys, I wish we could just look at a model and say, hey, this is going to happen, right? It's one thing if one person is wrong. It's another thing when all the outlets have to change in the last hour or two before a storm system happens. That's not us being wrong. That's the data, kind of adjusting to whatever is happening right now. But that's the live radar. By the way, this red is the freezing rain on Weatherwise. And this purple is your sleet. Of course, this snow is your blue. By the way, anybody in Louisville, let me turn on the HAS cam real quick. And then, yes, we're going to look at the model data and stuff. We're going to look at some cameras. We're going to have a fun broadcast here. I just wanted to get that little bit out of the way because obviously I've seen a lot of trolling this morning. It comes with a job. But I just want to let people know there's a reason that when meteorologists come here to Kentucky, they eventually move away. Right? Have you all ever noticed that? Most of the meteorologists, besides a lot of your older chief meteorologists that stay here, most of them move away. It's not easy to forecast here. All right? But I love it. So, looks like the radar is trying to show rain in Louisville. Obviously, that is snow. This camera, by the way, courtesy of Louisville Metro Emergency Services. Very phenomenal camera here. But you can see snow is happening on the rooftops there as well. So even though the radar is trying to show rain for whatever reason, I'll have to talk to Steve about that. It is obviously snowfall. Okay, so I'm curious. Let's click on the Tennessee camera real quick. I want to click on the Tennessee camera just for a second because again, this is what's coming up toward us. That looks like snow to me, even though that camera is kind of hard to tell. What about this one? Okay, obviously, wow. They've gotten some decent snows on there in Tennessee this morning. Again, this is important to look at Tennessee because what's happening in Tennessee, the changeover is going to happen in Tennessee first. Okay, so it's important to kind of keep an eye down there. Right now, this looks like probably a couple of inches that is on the ground, and it's still actively snowing. Maybe a little bit of sleet trying to mix in. It's really hard to tell on the cameras when you're talking about sleet versus snow. But that's kind of what it looks like there. So again, really important to watch that because the switch over is going to happen in Tennessee, and then it's going to lift up into Kentucky. So it's really important to watch what's happening down there. So for those of you that are wanting to track that freezing line, you need to watch the radar into Tennessee. You're going to see it there first, and then it will lift up into Kentucky. Because, again, now I kind of want to get into the models and kind of show you what's happening here. But before I do that, I want to kind of just tell you, obviously we have cold air coming in here, right? It's cold outside. It's nothing new there. The reason we're kind of having this battle is because at the same time, the reason we have all this moisture to work with for the potential for bigger snows or bigger sleets or whatever it is that you're going to see today and tomorrow is because we have Gulf moisture working up at the same time. Whenever you have Gulf moisture working up at the same time, it always brings warm air with it, but not always at the ground. It can come in where the clouds are at or above the clouds. And there's different layers of the atmosphere, right? That snowflake starts all the way up here and has to come all the way down. If even one of those layers is even slightly above freezing, it's going to melt it into a sleet pellet or into a snowflake. The best way to see this, and I know this is kind of, not the easiest thing in the world to read, but the best way to read this is, by the way, yep, you obviously see a lot of sleet here on the model data, is to look at the data here. Okay, here's your temperature line in red on the left side, your dew point line in green. Pay attention to the red line. Okay, here we are at the ground. So this goes from the ground up. So from the ground up. This blue line is your freezing line that's coming across here. So if your red line is to the left of that freezing line or sub-freezing, obviously it's going to be a snowflake. If it begins to wiggle at all and it gets close to or goes across that blue line, it's going to be a sleet pellet or freezing rain, depending upon how long it's above freezing, right? Look at what's happening here. I just don't think people are comprehending, or not people are comprehending. That sounds a little harsh. I just don't think non-nerdy minds like mine can kind of grasp how crazy this is. Look at the temperature at the ground. Temperature at the ground is 16 degrees. But if you look at the temperature a mile above our heads, it's 32 degrees. If you look at the temperature 2 miles above our heads, it's back to about 15 degrees, right? So it's just this one little, look at this right here. This one little divot. That's what's causing all of the headache today when it comes to trying to figure out whether it's sleet, whether it's snow, whether it's freezing rain. That little divot. And a little bit of movement on that makes all the difference in the world. Look at this. This is a snow output, right? We can see it. It never crosses over that blue line. If I go ahead by 1 hour here, well, now it's fully across by 2 degrees. 2 degrees. That makes all the difference. It's still sub-freezing at the ground. It's still 17 degrees at the ground. You'll still feel cold outside. It's the mile above our heads. 2 degrees is making all that difference. That's why I try to warn you guys throughout the entire week. No one is going to get this forecast 100% perfect. But we're going to try. Okay, here is the model data. And then, of course, I'm going to show you our latest snowfall map, the NWS's snowfall map, ice map, all that good stuff. Okay? Obviously, timing is not as important right now. It's obviously started for most of you out there. Okay, advancing this forward, I want to kind of cue this up here. Here is the model valid for right now. So this is what the model is saying should be happening out there right now. Obviously, we know it's not 100% accurate because when we come back and click on the radar, it's snowing in almost all of Kentucky. So now, for some of you, it may not be reaching the ground yet because it has to saturate the atmosphere first. It has to saturate the environment before it actually reaches to the ground. But you can see it's snowing in the majority of Kentucky. The model, by the way, is still all the way down here at Owensboro, Litchfield, Campbellsville being aligned. We just looked at the camera in Louisville. It's snowing in Louisville. If we look at the camera in Lexington, I bet you it's getting really close to snowing there. So, again, the models are still not doing all that great here. They're just not. But if you look at where the freezing line is on the HRRR model, see how it has the orange sleet right here? If you go over here and look at the live radar, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to actually being accurate. Much more close than the NAM 3K model. That leads me to believe this model might have a decent handle on what to expect here. So let's go ahead and roll through with the HRRR model. Advancing this forward to 2 p.m., you can see that's when it just now gets the line to Louisville, Lexington, so on and so forth. We know it's already there. So that means this is kind of the system maybe either moving 2 hours faster than the data is trying to indicate, or the snow branch is a little bit more expansive than the model data is trying to indicate. You won't know until we kind of get a little bit more ahead into the afternoon here. Advancing this forward, this is valid for 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Okay, this is when things really begin to get a little bit hairy here. It's always been late tonight going into Sunday morning. That's when things get a little bit, things start going crazy a little bit. That orange sleet line is now up into Somerset, approaching Madisonville, north of Murray. The pink or freezing rain is now in Murray, Hopkinsville, Bowling Green, and Monticello. I do have some major concerns for the southern half of Kentucky. We'll talk about that in a second with the ice accumulation forecast. Advance us forward to midnight going into Sunday here. You can see that line is now lifted into Madisonville, approaching Eatown, Danville, and into Pikeville. Freezing rain ongoing now in Campbellsville, Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Murray, Somerset, Monticello. Advances forward to 2 a.m. on Sunday. It is now a full-on sleet storm in Eatown, West Liberty, Madisonville, approaching Owensboro. And I want to tell you guys, if I were you, now obviously I hope you're not outside at Sunday 2 in the morning on a Sunday when it's 10 degrees and there's nothing to do. But if you do catch yourself outside, you might want to obviously bring an umbrella. You don't really think about that with sleet and snow, but you definitely want to, because this sleet is going to be falling at an incredibly hard rate, and it's going to hurt. That's something that's really not been talked about a whole lot, is whenever you see sleet in a liquid scenario like this where there's a lot of liquid, it's going to hurt when it hits you. It feels like you have shredded ice just being thrown at you. It's not fun. Sometimes we get a little bit of sleet here and there, but this is going to be very heavy sleet. Very heavy sleet. And by the way, I see a lot of people asking about the colors again. Blue is snow, orange is sleet, pink is freezing rain, and green is obviously regular rain. Okay? And yes, there will be some regular rain that mixes into southeastern Kentucky. Advances forward to 4 a.m. on Sunday. You can see that line has kind of started to stabilize now. Around Lexington, Moorhead, Radcliffe, Owensboro, that sleet line is starting to kind of stabilize a little bit. So this is the big difference in all the models. This is why things keep changing. This is why you're seeing different forecasts. This is why you're getting frustrated, because different forecasts are showing different things. Because some people like other models better. Some people do different types of math. Some people do different types of equations, so on and so forth. Have different formulas. Okay? This is the part where things are kind of changing. This sleet line, wherever it stops, and whoever's just north of that is going to see the heaviest snow. So, for example, right now, the ARRR model has the sleet line kind of stopping right here in like North Hardin County, South Jefferson County, Bullock County, Fayette County, going out to Moorhead, going out to Owensboro. Just north of that is wherever the heaviest snow is going to set up. And you're going to have this big, bright band of probably 14 to 18 inches of snowfall. Okay, right now, this model has at Louisville, Owenton, going out toward Mount Olivet, and then just a little bit up into maybe North Daviess County, going into southern Indiana right there toward Evansville. Okay, that's where your heaviest snowfall is going to set up. So that's why there's been such a major difference on forecast, because different people have different ideas on where that sleet line is going to stall out at. This is why you're seeing so much variance on when you're looking at all these maps. Okay, so advance this forward, 6 a.m. on Sunday. Sleet line kind of approaches up into Jefferson County now. It's starting to fight back on the northwestern side. Watch northwestern Kentucky here. By the way, at this point, for you folks in Hopkinsville, Murray, Bowling Green, Campbellsville, Somerset, Monticello, maybe Danville as well, that south, middle, and southeastern portion of Kentucky, guys, it's a lot of ice. It's a lot of ice, okay? And I'm not talking about sleet. Sleet can pass through the power lines. We're not really worried about sleet that much. Matter of fact, out of all the winter modes, sleet is probably the most like safe one. Obviously, it's still ice, but it's like a rougher ice. You can kind of drive on that a little bit. So if we're all rooting for sleet here. Obviously we're all rooting for snow. But if you have to get sleet or freezing rain, obviously you're rooting for sleet. You don't want freezing rain. Now, again, Hopkinsville, BG, Campbellsville, the southern half of Kentucky at this point has seen several hours of freezing rain if this model is to be correct. And it would be probably a half inch to 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain by the time it's said and done. Last night I told you, most folks can deal with a 1/4 to half inch. It's hard, but in Kentucky, we've seen that a few times. That's nothing new for us, unfortunately. It does cause power outages. It does cause a lot of traffic issues. Plows can't drive on it, so your plows are sidelined at that point. It's a mess. But when you start getting to that 3/4 of an inch, or God forbid, an inch of freezing rain, that's when things go from dangerous to life-threatening. Because then you're talking about double the weight on the power lines, double the weight on the trees. You're talking about a lot of trees coming down to that point, falling on the power lines getting snapped, right? That's when it starts crossing it from just dangerous to life-threatening at that point. So for my folks in the southern half of Kentucky, again, Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Murray, Campbellsville, Somerset, Monticello, this is kind of the areas where I'm expecting, Hart County, the Cave Central area down there. This is kind of where I'm expecting the heaviest icing to be. I want you guys, before, you lose power or anything like that, Hopefully you don't. But this is, of course, we're talking about worst case scenario. Please save a list of shelters. Please have your generators ready if you have generators. Please have backup plans ready. Please have a way to get to those shelters because, again, you have to remember the roads are going to be a little bit messy, right? They're going to be very dangerous to drive through. So, again, please keep those in mind. Again, sleet and snow is one thing. We can deal with that. If the forecast is wrong, we can deal with that. The freezing rain being 3/4 of an inch is dangerous. It is dangerous. We've seen this, unfortunately, several times in Kentucky. And almost every time it's in a situation like this where we have a warm nose overrunning some very cold air. So I just want to put that kind of heartfelt message out to you. Again, if you see yourself in pink for a lot of these hours here, like you do in Bowling Green, Campbellsville, Somerset, Monticello, Hopkinsville, even getting close up towards southern Hardin County, right? If you see yourself in that pink for a lot of time there, please have backup plans ready and have all that information already ready to go for you, okay? Here is 10 a.m. on Sunday. You'll start to see that snow was beginning to fight back. We've switched back to snow in Owensboro. Cynical Banana, thank you for your $10 donation. I appreciate you. You can see that snow line is starting to fight back in northwestern Kentucky. We have switched back to an all snow in Owensboro, most of Louisville, Florence, Owenton, Paducah as well. Advances forward to 12 p.m. or noon. That snow line is starting to advance once again. This is because we have switched back to a northwest wind instead of a south wind. So when that happens, we'll switch back to snowfall, and it will continue to kind of fight back here. It's just a constant battle between Gulf warmth and Arctic cold. And for a lot of this, unfortunately, Gulf warmth will win. Advancing this forward to 2 p.m. on Sunday, again, switching back to an all snow. That freezing rain and sleet is making its way to the east. By the way, this model has regular rain all the way up into Monticello, Somerset, Pikeville, and West Liberty. Again, I know it shows regular rain there, but that will freeze once this event ends and you get to the backside of this event because the temperatures are obviously going to dip well below freezing. Advances forward to 4 p.m. You'll see what I mean there, as it's progressing to the east. Now, this model is showing something a little bit different that the other models are kind of either not showing or aren't as impressive with. It's some backside snow that could really up those snow totals. And you'll see it here, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Owensboro, some heavier snows there. Those stretch over to central Kentucky by about 5 p.m. on Sunday. And then by about 7 to 8 p.m., kind of things calm down. And then, late Sunday night going into Monday morning, it's trying to show some kind of snow squalls happening. And maybe a little bit of a reignition of some snow out there in eastern Kentucky to kind of make up for some of those totals that you might have lost out on. I don't know if that's going to happen. Sometimes we do see Arctic air really squeeze out every bit of moisture it can. So, this is absolutely on the table and would help some of you kind of come up with some higher snowfall totals. Again, nothing crazy, but it would help. Okay, let's go through what this model is showing here. Starting with sleet. It has a wide swath in this dark kind of brown orange right here, burnt orange, if you will. That's about 2 to 4 inches of sleet. That's why a lot of folks were mad this morning when the forecast changed. I get it. Okay, I understand. I'm mad too. I hate when we have to change our forecast. But you're still going to end up with a hefty amount of snow and then a hefty amount of sleet. It's going to be disgusting. A lot of people were saying that they went to the store for no reason. No, you did good if you went to the store and got all of your stuff, because either way you slice it, you're going to be stuck inside. So sleet, about 2 to 4 inches in that darker kind of burnt orange there. Taking that off, let's go ahead and take a look at the freezing rain estimation from this model. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Now, with the freezing rain estimation, you would take about 30% of this off, and that would be your ice accretion. Ice accretion is the ice that sticks to your tree limbs, your power lines, your stuff that's above the ground. That's ice accretion. And you would take about 30% of that number off, and that would kind of be your ice accretion. So, for example, in Bowling Green, it shows 0.7 inches of ice. About 30% is probably about 0.2 of that. So, again, you would take that down to about a half inch of ice accretion. About a half inch in Campbellsville. About a tenth to a quarter of an inch in E-Town. And Litchfield, about a half inch. Or about a quarter inch, sorry. Murray, about a quarter inch. Again, Danville, about a half inch. The ice is not pretty. The ice is not pretty. And that's obviously something we wanted to avoid. But when you have an overrunning warm setup like this, unfortunately, freezing rain is almost always a certainty. So again, not a pretty scenario there. Here is a snowfall total from this model. Obviously, it has shifted north. This is what we've been saying all morning. We said, hey, once this storm system kind of gets going and once we can sample it after it phases together, you'll start to see these final little shifts occur. It's still pretty on par with our forecast, maybe a little bit on the lower side for some of you. But it's still pretty on par with the forecast that we made, even our first call, all the way back on Thursday. It's still not far off. The only thing we've done ever since then is just kind of refine. And again, just want to point out this is one model run. Don't take this verbatim and say, oh my God, Owensboro, I'm getting 15 inches of snow. No. It's probably reading some of the sleet as snowfall, but you can see where the heavier stripe is setting up, and it's gotten pretty consistent with a heavier stripe. Okay? Again, that's kind of just the one model run. I want to show you now the amounts and stuff kind of from the NWS. Here is the NWS's forecast. Why does that camera keep freezing, by the way? Let me fix that real quickly. Stop freezing. That's the camera out of E-Time, by the way. We have so many cameras we can look out here and have some fun with. So I'm going to pull up all these cameras, kind of show you what's happening around Kentucky. So we got a lot of cameras we can have some fun with today. Here is the projected snowfall amounts from the NWS. This has gone down a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised that they're still this far south with this 8 to 12 inch band. As we saw on the model data, you saw a lot of sleet mixing in there. So I'm still a little bit surprised it's that far south with that 8 to 12 inch band. But, they've been pretty stubborn about it. So maybe they're seeing something that we aren't. Hopefully they're right, because it means less sleet and less ice. But I don't know. That's their snowfall expectation. Here is their ice accumulation expectation. By the way, I want to point out, they're also a little bit more to the southeast with this still. They don't really have any ice accumulation in, Louisville, most of Hardin County, which is, great news for us here locally, into Daviess County. They're really keeping the ice to the east here. Remember on the data there, we saw Hopkinsville was closer to a half inch. Murray was closer to a half inch. Litchfield was closer to a quarter inch. They're kind of keeping it over here to the southeast. So again, they may be seeing something that we're not. But I just showed you the model data, so I'm not sure if they're just being a little bit slow to change or if they're seeing something that we're not. Both options are on the table. So that's the ice accumulation forecast. By the way, all of this information has already been posted, so that's why we're kind of going through it pretty fast here. If you missed it already, it's already posted on our pages. Here is our snow forecast. Now, the only thing I did that's different than this morning, and I'm not changing it anymore after this point, I changed this back at about 1 p.m., or I'm sorry, back about 12 p.m.-ish. I just hadn't posted it yet. I only took about an inch off everything because, again, Daniel, thank you for your $20 donation. I appreciate that so much because, again, as you guys saw on the rate or on the model data there is quite a bit of sleet mixing in. Now, again, I would love if we got more snow than advertised, but my job is to adapt to what the storm is telling me, and this is what the storm is telling me at this point. I really, really hope we end up with more snow, less sleet, or more snow, less freezing rain. But right now, this is what the storm is telling me, and this is our final call for snowfall and sleet. So keep that in mind as well. This is not just snow. This is snow and sleet. There's a little bit less moisture involved with this storm than the model data indicated as well. So that's why we also took those totals down, not necessarily just because of the shift, but because there's a little bit less moisture, a little bit less liquid involved in the storm, at least right now, than the model data indicated. So that's why we also kind of took it down a little bit. But I just really want to point something out. Okay. No matter how this pans out today, guys, it's going to be impactful. You're going to be stuck in your home for at least a few days. You did not waste your grocery trips. You did not waste your time preparing for the storm. You did great because no matter how this pans out, again, for example, in Bowling Green, let's say you end up with very light snowfall, which, by the way, you should already have, an inch or so on the ground. Let's say you end up with less snowfall at like 2 or 3 inches. That only means you got an almost ice storm out of it. So again, it's not really busting. It's just that we're dealing with different precip types. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, that, yes, it's less snowfall than a lot of the model data indicated, which, by the way, we kept telling you that the models were being too aggressive. But again, I just want to point out, it's going to be an impactful winter storm no matter how you slice it. It really is. So you're doing great by staying home. You're doing great by you did a great job preparing. I saw a lot of you were out in the stores. I saw a lot of you got generators. You guys did great. And I promise you did not waste your money. You did not waste your time, because no matter how this pans out, it's going to be really impactful. Okay? I'm with you guys. I wanted to see a foot of snowfall too. And look, it could shift. We could still see snowfall. I'm being honest with you guys. But right now, it's telling me And we've seen this type of storm system before. Think of February 2021, if you guys can remember. We've seen this before. I was just hoping it would pan out a little bit different this time. But, back in February 2021, it was a full-on sleet blizzard in half of Kentucky. I mean, it was disgusting. And so, again, yes, the forecast has changed, and I know that's frustrating, but I'd rather take some flack and give you guys accurate expectations than to just roll a forecast out there from 3 days ago that just doesn't make any sense at this point. You know what I mean? So, that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these cameras. Let's have some fun. Because, again, let's look at some snowfall here. Snowfall is always fun. The sleet and ice, not necessarily so much. And then I'll get to some of your questions while we're taking a look at some of these cameras, too. So, I want to do something real quickly. Okay. Let me do it. Why is the E-Town camera being like that? Again, this camera's out of E-Town. Let's go to Litchfield camera. Take a look at the Litchfield camera, courtesy of the Grayson County Emergency Management. Let's stick on that for a minute while I take some of your questions here. It's not fun. Well, guys, I want to tell you, a lot of you are about to have a couple of very long days if you're dealing with freezing rain and sleet, all that good stuff. So have a little fun and look at some of the model data. You know what I mean? Let me pull something up here real quickly. I forgot to pull my script up. And guys, we have over 300 cameras ready to show you. So if you want to see all around Kentucky, hang out here for a second. Where in the road? There we go. Okay, that's my script. Got that ready to rock and roll now. We get to a few questions at this point. What time frame for the freezing rain in Russellville? Again, a lot of the changeovers will occur late tonight going into Sunday morning. Mixed berry water. This is black cherry today. Black cherry today. And I am bad. I didn't realize how much water I was going through. And I've pretty much gone through all my backup water for this winter storm when it comes to the flavored water. So I'm going to have to switch to regular plain water at some point. Travis, thank you for your 99 stars. Dude, I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Did I miss anyone else's donations? Okay, good. I don't think I did. A lot of the state parks are opening as warming shelters, and the National Guard is at all of the Armory locations. Thank you, Jamie, for the update there. What's the chances of power outages in Litchfield? I don't ever like to do that, but I will just tell you guys, if you're in those areas where we're expecting the heavier ice totals, for example, let me pull this back up here, especially in that red area. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's in the middle right now. But if you're in that red area, that's where you can expect more of those power outages. Cody said, is there a possibility of a few more inches of snow on Wednesday? I haven't even looked. I'm not going to lie to you. When it comes to where we get busy like this, I really like to take it one system at a time. When you start trying to look too much in, going into different, it starts to be way too much. While I'm answering some of your questions, I want to give you a few messages from our sponsors. Again, they're the reason we could be here for you guys 24/7, so I hope you consider supporting them. And, of course, we will continue to look at cameras and answer your questions as well. When Kentucky weather turns rough, your tires, brakes, and battery matter more than ever. I can actually speak to that. My car almost didn't start this morning because the battery was pretty much drained from the cold air. Creekside Auto and Tires in E-Town and Vine Grove has you covered. From tires and batteries to oil changes, brakes, maintenance, and quality used vehicles. Call 270-769-9690 and make sure you mention Weather Now Kentucky, and you can actually save a little bit of money doing that. Again, that's Creekside Auto and Tires. When severe weather hits Kentucky, your roof is your first line of defense. Hyper Roofing, right here in Hardin County, offers one of the only GAF wind warranties in the entire state. It's built to protect your home when storms strike. If your roof has taken wind or hail damage, trust the local experts and be proactive about it before the severe weather season. Again, that's Hyper Roofing. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some other cameras here and answer some more questions. By the way, look at this camera out of Gage, Kentucky. The Hascam out of Gage, Kentucky. Is that just pure snow there? Let's take a look at the radar. Yeah, it's just pure snow that's making it that. Look at that. That is, you can almost not even see. You can't even really see. Answer a few questions here. Yes, I've still seen a lot of questions about when the freezing rain and sleet's going to hit. Again, that would be late tonight going into the overnight hours. That's when a lot of the models have the changeover happening. So from now until late tonight, you can enjoy a little bit of snowfall for at least most of you if you like snowfall. Late tonight into the overnight hours, that's when a lot of it changes. So again, and that answer is pretty much the same for a lot of you folks. So a lot of people asking about how much ice people are supposed to get. Here's the ice accumulation forecast once again. Are you still seeing a possibility of thunder snow? Yeah, there's still a little bit of lightning showing up on the model data. Not a whole lot. So someone may get lucky out there and see some thunder snow or thunder sleet or thunder freezing rain. Is that 10 to 14 sleet and snow for Irvington, Breckenridge County? I think it was close. I don't know if it was quite there. Let's see. Yeah, 10 to 14. But again, probably on the lower side. Thanks for keeping it real, George. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. If this map is hard to see, by the way, here, real quickly. I'll pull this up once again for you guys. But if it's hard to see still on the stream, this has already been posted. So you can go ahead and check it there. But again, a lot of the red on this area is in southeastern, far eastern, and south central Kentucky. I see a lot of people asking, can snow totals go up because they've already seen a few inches of snow? Remember, for some of you, this is all the snow that you're going to see. For the rest of this event, you're probably going to see either sleet or freezing rain or maybe a little bit of snow flurries. So remember, soak this in right now. For half of you in Kentucky, this is probably going to be all the snow you see. Okay. I want to have some fun here. Just for a second. Let's switch back over. Here's a camera out of Warren County, by the way, at US 31 northbound at mile marker 7. Already kind of snow covered in the Warren County area. I'm trying to get to one of these cameras out of Hopkinsville, but all of them are kind of down right now. There's one. Here's a camera out of Hopkinsville. Showing the roads pretty covered, though. So like a snowplow may have just come through there. Let's see here. Anything happening in Lexington? Let's take a little bit of a gander into the Lexington area. This is from Lexington Traffic Management. Is it doing anything? Kind of hard to tell. By the way, y'all better not be speeding in Lexington. I didn't realize how many cameras they had there. You better not be doing nothing bad in Lexington. At least speeding-wise. Yeah, it's snowing there. It's doing something. You can see it fall on that top right camera. And here's the camera out of Litchfield from Grayson County Emergency Management. It's kind of queuing up some different cameras here. Okay. I'm going to get to a couple more of our sponsors and then get to a few more of your questions, and then we'll keep looking at the cameras here. From planting season to harvest, Kentucky farmers depend on equipment that works as hard as they do. Right Implement with locations across Kentucky provides the equipment, service, and support you can count on, rain or shine. When the weather matters, experience matters. That is Right Implement. If you're traveling or dealing with disruptions, or if you're traveling or dealing with weather disruptions and need a safe place for your pet, Creature Comfort Inn in Brandenburg offers trusted boarding with the comfort and care your pets deserve. And first-time pet stays receive 10% off when you mention Weather Now Kentucky. That's Creature Comfort Inn, where pets feel at home. Okay. Here's traffic cam out of Louisville, I-65 over Phillips Lane. I'll take a look at that there while I'll get to some of your questions now as well. I'll pull the radar back up here so you guys can have the live radar while we're kind of looking at this stuff. Yes, power outages are definitely possible in London, Kentucky. By the way, I just want to point out, too, I don't think we've mentioned this a whole lot, but the temperatures, man, they are brutal, and we actually get a reinforcement of the cold air by midweek. So, again, we've got Whatever falls today is going to be around for a while. That's also part of it as well. You know, even if it's not a crazy amount of snowfall, let's say you end up with 4 inches of snow, 2 inches of sleet, and a tenth of an inch of freezing rain. That's actually probably going to be pretty common for a lot of you in the southern half of Kentucky today and tomorrow. The only problem is that don't sound like a whole lot. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I know you've covered it, but it looks like AccuWeather has increased the potential for 1 to 2 inches of freezing rain for the Somerset area. Do you think 1 to 2 inches? No, I don't think that much is likely. But Somerset will be one of those areas where it'd probably be one of the higher freezing rain areas, probably around a half to a quarter of an inch, or a half to 3/4 of an inch. Sorry. Yes, this snow system will go through all of Kentucky. What? Brittany says, so E-Town, so totals went down, but I've total went up. I have no idea what you're trying to ask, my friend. Oh, there she goes. E-Town snow totals went down, but ice went up. Yeah, well, a sleet. I think sleet's going to be the big winner in E-Town. You're probably going to see half and half. I would say E-Town's probably somewhere between 5 to 8 inches of snow and probably 2 to 4 inches of sleet. Taylor, I don't think I have that one loaded on here. If you all are asking about snow forecast, we have multiple maps posted, and we've covered it multiple times in this video. You probably should go check our page out for that, or I'll pull it back up for a second here. That's the NWS's forecast. Here's our forecast. Okay. I'm going to switch cameras here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hart County. I-65 mile marker 73. The plows are trying to work their way through there into Hart County. I am very happy about how low of the traffic. I've been watching the cameras throughout the morning, throughout this afternoon, and the traffic has been pretty low. Seems awful cold for any kind of rain. Again, because it's not about the temperature at the ground, it's about the temperature a mile above our heads. Again, forecasts have been already posted and everything, guys. I'm not going to go through how much you're expecting in different areas. That stuff has been, I feel like we have exhausted that at this point. Again, here's the ice accumulation forecast right now. I'll pull up the snow forecast here in a little bit once again. Again, change over time, by the way. All right, David, have a good one. Change over time, by the way, once again, it's going to be sometime late tonight, overnight into Sunday morning. That's when a lot of you are going to start to change over to freezing rain or sleet. Yeah, Kayla, some sleet will probably mix into Louisville. Let me see. I think we have a new model run coming in. I just want to kind of take a look at it real quickly. This is one of the models that has been pretty warm for this whole event here. Just gonna kind of glance on through this real quick. Yeah, it still takes a sleet all the way up into southern Indiana. So again, this is one of the big shifts. I just want to show you why this stuff is really hard too. I mean, this was the model run from yesterday. This is the model run from yesterday. Kind of just zooming into local view here. I'm just gonna kind of show you how this has changed. Erica, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Can the storm still shift? Yeah, maybe, but you're not going to get any real drastic shifts at this point, being so close to it. Here is the model run from yesterday. Look at how it only had the sleet kind of getting into north central Kentucky. Maybe a brief period up into the northern portions of Kentucky, but not crazy. Here is that same model on today's run that just came out an hour ago, or a few hours ago. Look, it takes the sleet all the way up into Indiana. And notice, by the way, as well, it has less moisture with it. Let's see all these little dry slots in between. So again, forecasts have changed because the data has changed, not because we were wrong. The data has changed. We can only do what we have with the data. Look at that camera out of Elizabethtown. It is just snow in there. Get to a few more sponsors real quickly, and then we'll wrap up with a couple more questions here. Kids grow fast, and Kentucky families need smart savings. Once Upon a Child in E-Town and on Outer Loop in Louisville buys and sells gently used kids' clothes, toys, and gear at unbeatable prices. That's Once Upon a Child. Looking to refresh your wardrobe without breaking the bank? Plato's Closet in Elizabethtown buys and sells stylish, gently used clothing for teens and young adults for less. And by the way, those same local families run both of those operations there. So again, they're a great family that you want to support. Again, that's Once Upon a Child in E-Town and on Outer Loop in Louisville, and Plato's Closet in E-Town. Look at that snow into E-Town at this point, man, by the way. It is just snowing there. Yeah, Rick, you would think. You would think with some of the comments I saw this morning. My only annoying, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. The only thing to me that's kind of annoying about all that, guys, negative communication always comes with this type of job. You know what you sign up for. But the thing that annoys me the most is not getting the hate. It's that we can't even let the storm go first. Like, the storm hasn't even started yet for most of you. And I've already got people telling me, like yesterday, I had people telling me, you're wrong, this is a bust, whatever. Like, can we at least let me be wrong first before you yell at me? Mason, probably not significant, but yes, you will have some freezing rain. K, on the models, the orange was sleet, pink was freezing rain, and green was regular rain. Exactly, Catherine. Yeah, honey, it's Triple D, honey. It's a very fine powdery snow today. Very fine. This is not going to be the snow that you want to go sledding in. Hey, Tony, I would love to be wrong about the ice and sleet. And I would love if it just snowed like crazy. What is up with this camera in E-Town? It's been doing that more and more lately. How do changes in the model impact the risk of outages? Well, obviously, if the warm line goes a little bit more to the north, obviously that brings the freezing rain up, and that can affect more power outages. Yeah, Matt, you guys would think that I got paid millions of dollars by. I promise, I've already banned about 50 people this morning. But you guys would think that I got paid millions of dollars by Walmart to tell you that it was going to snow 3 foot this weekend. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to pay our tax bill, let alone getting paid millions of dollars from Walmart. You know, it is crazy the amount of people that were in my comments telling me that I was getting paid by these big stores I was getting paid by Big Bread and Milk to give you a wrong forecast this weekend, was the synopsis that I got from reading my comments this morning. It was something else this morning. But, I knew that was going to happen. Whenever you get the forecast that changes, you always get the people that come out of the woodworks that tell you all these crazy different things. By the way, this camera, courtesy of Grayson County Emergency Management, you can see them kind of moving the camera around there in Litchfield. It's just crazy. And again, I know what I signed up for. I know this is the career I chose. I know I'm going to get backlash whenever a forecast isn't 100% perfect. I know I'm going to get backlash when the forecast changes. We know how it goes. It's just some of the comments are just outrageous to me because you would think I would make millions of dollars. Guys, let me show you something. Okay? Does it look like I make millions of dollars? I'm in PJs. Come on. I'm in PJs, dude. No, look, the hate doesn't get to me anymore. It used to. I feel like I've grown some thick skin. I feel like the longer I do this, the more thick my skin gets. Hey, that's a good camera angle. Leave it there. It's good. No, stop moving it. I want to see the intersection. Put it back. You put it back right now, or I'm going to turn this car around. They look warm. Yeah, it was freezing out here this morning. Yeah, Jonathan, I'm only a Ravens fan because of Lamar Jackson, because he went to Louisville. George's never seen how Adam Sandler dresses. Hey, don't blow my cover here. Will regular rain help in the Paintsville area? Yeah, regular rain will help a little bit because at least regular rain is not going to stick to the power lines, but it will still freeze on the ground. Daniel, thank you very much. I appreciate that. No, again, guys, I'm just having a little bit of fun right now. The hate doesn't bother me anymore. Again, that's just kind of, to me, the more hate we get, it signifies the bigger we've gotten, right? I mean, we have almost 200,000 people across the board down all of our social medias, and it's just taken off. And of course, the bigger you get, the more you're exposed to more people that are going to be negative. And obviously, oppositely, you're also going to be exposed to more people that are nice to you. That's just how it goes, especially in this world. You're never going to make everyone happy. I know that, and I've grown some more thick skin over the years. But it is just funny. Some of you will have to go through the comments, and I've already banned most of them this morning because I'm just not playing with it anymore. I used to just ignore it or delete their comment, leave them on the page. But now I'm just banning people. But it is just funny. You would think I was a millionaire working behind the scenes like a CIA operative for Walmart. Like, it is just crazy. By the way, I want to reiterate, even if you don't see a bunch of snowfall this weekend, which some of you, yes, it's going to be lower than we originally thought, you're still going to be stuck in the house for 3, 4, 5 days because sleet is really hard to plow. Ice is obviously impossible to plow. And when you add the combination in of snow, ice, and sleet, it's really hard to plow and get off the roads. And temperatures, by the way, are still going to continue to go below 15, 20 degrees for the next 5 or 6 days. So even if you don't end up with this huge banger record historic snowfall, you're still going to be stuck for at least 3 or 4 days, at least for a lot of you anyway. So you didn't waste your time, you didn't waste your money. It just didn't. It's not the big breaking snowfall. Martin says if you are a Lamar fan, you will be a Dolphins fan soon. I hope not. I don't like your all's uniforms. Yeah, Jamie. Riley, it's just a matter of if we saw the snow actually fall in at different time frames. I will never be able to speak on other people's forecasts. That's another thing as well, is everyone's telling me all these forecasts and think, guys, I don't know how they make their forecasts. Some people do different, algorithms. Some people do different formulas. Some people do different equations. Some people view different models in a different way. Some people have access to different data. Like a lot of those big media companies, they have access to different data than we do. So again, I will never be able to answer for someone else's forecast. All I can do is answer for our forecast. No, and Wendy, I can't do those colors. I can't do those colors. Speaking of A1D, let's take a look at some of our cameras up in the Louisville area. I want to see what's happening up there. Let's see here. This is going to be Jefferson County at I-65 at I-265 merger there. Not too shabby. You can see the plows are doing some great work there, but it's starting to build up on the sides. Let's take a look into Jefferson County at I-65 at Eastern Parkway there. Some blowing snow. You can kind of see it kind of blowing across the road there. Not seeing a whole lot of traffic, which is really good news. The big test comes into looking at downtown. See how the traffic is down there. I'm really proud of you guys. There's just very little amounts of traffic. Lexington, it's still not a whole lot there either. Here's Lexington cameras. Here's that camera out of Hart County, by the way. Still showing quite the snowfall building up there. Take a look into our state capital, Frankfort. That we have going on there. Not a whole lot at the moment. Not a whole lot at the moment. A little bit more traffic there, but again, not a whole lot at the moment. That's kind of what we said as well. A lot of you can probably travel somewhat safely until this afternoon. About 4 or 5 o'clock is when things really begin to go downhill, at least for the traffic there. This is a camera out of Hardin County, I-65 mile marker 102. Again, not a whole lot of traffic. Again, really great job by all of you guys to stay off the roads. Yeah, there's only one live E-Town camera, but I have access to other traffic cameras that are still cameras. We're trying to work on getting more live cameras. We have something cool maybe coming up in the future for that. Can't talk about it too much right now. But, by the way, it is still a snow down there in Nashville. Look down in Nashville. Again, we're looking down into Tennessee because this is where the changeover will happen first. It is still a snow down there for Nashville. I wonder how much snow they're sitting at now. This is the live camera, by the way, out of Louisville. In that kind of medium corner there. I don't think so, Jack. Yeah, Memphis is already. By the way, if you want to take a look into why a mix of these precipits is very dangerous, go Google Memphis right now. Go Google Memphis right now. They have already gone through a very light amount of sleet, freezing rain, and snow, and the city is shut down. Thank you, Louise. Nice snowfall out in the Louisville area. I want to take a look, see if we have any other cameras I want to look at, and then maybe take a little bit of a break here. Probably do another stream this evening when things, kind of take down a notch. This is Jefferson County, 841. That's Gene Snyder, I think, at New Cut Road. Not too bad on traffic. Everyone's kind of in the same lane. That's also a really good thing if you guys do have to get out and travel, something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, stay in the same lane as the other vehicles. One, it helps keep other vehicles from trying to pass you, or if they want to pass you, they could be kind of dumb on their own. But you see a snowplow going through there on Gene Snyder. But also, those vehicles in front of you are making tracks for you. That tracks could, that friction helps melt a little bit over time, maybe get you a little bit more traction onto the actual road. So something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot that not a lot of people somehow know about. Follow the vehicles. Don't be in different lanes. Yeah, Tabby, Monticello will be off and on. Kentucky, man, thank you very much. Georgetown should start very soon. You can obviously see it snowing right now. It's just evaporating before it gets down to the ground. So that means your column of air is starting to saturate. Jill, thank you very much. I appreciate that. There will definitely be some sleet tomorrow in Shelby County. Anything by Cincinnati? Probably mostly snowfall up toward there. Probably about 8 to 12 inches. Gene Slider, yeah. Man, it was crazy on, what was it, Wednesday morning when we had that little bit of snowfall. Man, it looked like all of Louisville forgot how to drive in snow. It was crazy. The amount of wrecks I was seeing in Louisville from that. Like, yeah, it was definitely slick. But that just means slow down. Slow down. That's correct, Corey. Holly, welcome in out of Pikeville. Okay. Oh, Jill, thank you for your 1,100 stars. I appreciate that. And another 20 stars, making it 1,200 stars. Thank you very much, Jill. I appreciate you. I forget to look at the stars sometimes. I'm sorry. Carolyn, thank you for your 50 stars. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your generosity. GTL, thank you for your $20 donation on YouTube. I appreciate you. It says excellent live coverage and forecast. Thank you very much. Thank you for that super chat there. Sarah, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. I won't say how much it is because that's ridiculous, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. At what time may it change to ice? It would likely be late tonight going into Sunday morning for most of you. Now, the more north you are, like, for example, in Bowling Green, tonight you'll probably be sleet by about 10 o'clock and then freezing rain probably by about midnight. If you're in like somewhere like Louisville, that changeover is probably going to be more towards Sunday morning where you're going to have a little bit of sleet mixing in here and there, but mainly a snow. So it kind of depends on how south-north you are. The line's going to go from the south to the north. So if you ever want to see where that freezing line is, just look on your radar and kind of look at where the precipitation is changing, and then you'll be able to judge how close it's getting to you. And it will be to your south and then come to the north. Okay. I want to take a look at some of these live cameras one more time. And then we'll probably just wrap it up so I can go get some lunch here. Or I guess snack at this point. I didn't realize it was 2:30. That's the bad thing about when we get busy like this. Sometimes I just forget to eat. Which, I'm a big dude. Forgetting to eat is not a good thing. It's not ideal. Okay, let's get the Gage, Kentucky camera back up here as well. And then we will get the Moorhead, Kentucky camera back up here. Wait, the Gage, Kentucky camera changed their angle. Now we can actually see what's happening out there. So I was looking up at a white cloud of dust. Kathy, thank you for your $10 super chat on YouTube. I appreciate you. It says, thanks for all you do. Looks like we could be right on the line for ice in Guston, Ekron, and Irvington area. Yeah, I would say more sleet for you than freezing rain. Yes, this is just for Kentucky. I do not cover anywhere else, my friend. It's hard, guys. It's hard enough making an accurate and complete forecast for 120 counties. I couldn't imagine trying to do it for an entire nation. Looks like a solid coating of snow there. I don't know how tall their grass is, so it's kind of hard to judge exactly how much snow they have. That's kind of a building I want right there eventually. Look at that nice garage they have there. Are they just flexing on us right now? Are they just flexing on us right now? Okay. Brittany said, is it going to consistently snow in Shelby County or will there be a break? There will likely be a break later on tonight. What do you predict about the week ahead? How long for school closures? I think you'll see schools closed for a while. I mean, genuinely. Again, when it comes to sleet and freezing rain, those are very hard to plow, and we don't have a lot of the data does not have us coming back above freezing until the calendar changes to February. So no matter what falls today, it's going to be here for a while. And we may have little peaks to like 31, 32 over the next 4 to 5 days. But you have to remember, during the nighttime, we probably go back down to 15 to 17 degrees. So just automatic refreezing is going to happen as soon as the sun goes back down. So I mean, I would fully prepare to have your kids at home for a while this week. Because the unfortunate thing is too, I think by Wednesday or Thursday, if I remember correctly, we saw another reinforcement. We'll see another reinforcement of the cold air. So the cold air is just not going away anymore. No, Wayne, I won't be getting out in this. I have plenty of food at home. We fully prepared for a week. I told my wife, I said, because my wife does all the shopping. All right. I said, look, just do a week. Just do a week. Do you have any idea what time you're going live this evening? I'll kind of just play it by ear. I want to try to aim toward when the changeover is happening for our southern rural counties in the state. So it'll probably be somewhere near our normal time. Our normal time is 8 p.m. Eastern time. But again, we'll just kind of play it by ear right now. Here's the camera out of Litchfield. Again, nice kind of blowing, just very light powdery snow. It looks like a snow globe outside a little bit. Here's that camera out of E-Town on I-65 looking south here. See still some really nice snowfalls coming down in Elizabethtown. Lindsay, our updated snow totals are on the page, by the way, if you missed those. Again, I see a lot of folks asking about when the changeover time is once again. That changeover time will likely be late tonight, going into Sunday morning for many of you. Okay, I am going to take a break at this point. Go spend some time with the family, have some fun outside if we have another one, or if we have some time. And I'm going to just kind of chill out for a little bit. I will continue to post updates for you guys. But right now, just expect snowfall, light snowfall for pretty much throughout today. Tonight is kind of when things change over. So for the next 6 or 7 hours, just kind of, hang out a little bit, stay warm inside, stay off the roads, enjoy the snow if you'd like, because tonight is when kind of the messy stuff kind of comes in. But we have 5 or 6, 7 hours before that starts to happen. I'll be back tonight when we get closer to that changeover time. All right. I think that's pretty much it for us here. Again, I will continue to post updates for you guys throughout the day. But just know it's pretty much snow today, tonight, and tomorrow is when that more sleet, freezing rain really kind of gets going in for Kentucky. All right. I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. I appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you for all of your donations, all of your shares. Thank you to all of our sponsors for allowing us to be here for you guys 24/7. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Even no matter how this pans out, guys, it's going to be impactful. Just remember that. All right. Take care.